What's going on, my Evolve North County fam? So this is your girl Kelly, back here again to give you the lowdown, the rundown on what happened in St. Louis County government this week. Because, as you know, my job is attending meetings, so you don't have to. I attended two meetings this week, two meetings regarding St. Louis County, and I'm just gonna get right into it. So the first meeting I attended was the St. Louis County Council meeting, which was last night's. And I'm just gonna kind of highlight a few things for y'all to note. So first, I wanted to highlight a communication from County Executive Sam Page. St. Louis County is receiving federal coin. So if you guys didn't know, we talking about $192 million. Okay, so they are expected to receive this sometime next month for sure. And so these funds are called the American Rescue Plan Act funds, ARPA for short. So, in his communication page, thanked all the council members because he's been meeting with them individually to really get a sense of what are their priority areas for their constituents in their districts. And so, he expressed these priorities, which ranged from, supporting, providing rental and utilities assistance for folks, as well as, supporting public improvements in infrastructure, also supporting small businesses. So a plethora of things of priorities were expressed by each of the council members. And he also said, and I quote, that it will be up to the council members to decide how much should be held in reserves and how quickly they should be put to work for residents and businesses. So, yeah. Holla at y'all council members and let them know how you feel this coin should be spent, because it's coming, y'all. So, as far as introduction to bills, there are quite a few read off, but I did want to highlight one bill in particular because it was actually fast tracked and perfected. So, it's Bill 111 was introduced by Councilman Tracus, and the bill would protect folks from getting evicted in St. Louis County, and formerly known as an eviction moratorium. So there was a lot of back and forth over this. Fitch and Harder, I guess they didn't see the need for it because of this recent CDC order. And then I guess there's a process. You can go online, fill out the forms, you fall into certain guidelines within, income requirements and all of that. You fill it out, print it, you can provide it to your landlord and also to the courts, and you won't get evicted. However, it's a lot very problematic because number one, folks, people have to know, right, about this documentation. Number two, people have to go to the CDC website and be able to access it and fill it out and all of that. So, I mean, yeah, how easy is that? It just depends, right? So basically, so they're saying there's no need for this type of legislation in St. Louis County because CDC has its order and that's it. However, Councilman Tracus was saying that currently, while the order has been, there is this order, there's a fight going on federally in the courts to uphold it. And so he's saying, look, if we pass this is fail-safe legislation to ensure that there is an eviction moratorium for St. Louis County residents. Councilwoman Clancy mentioned, quote, housing is public health, which it is, and just saying that the legislation, it needed to be passed. Councilwoman Webb mentioned that she was confused because she's like, look, y'all, I don't care who done passed what types of legislation. We need to ensure the well-being for our constituents. So what is the problem? I don't know. So basically, like I mentioned, it was introduced. The members, they did perfect the bill in order for it to move to final passage. All 7 council members would have to vote to do so. And because there was that split, Councilman Tracus decided to put it on pause for now and revisit it maybe at a committee of the whole meeting. Who knows? But a lot of folks do understand that this is a pretty pressing issue. So I'm going to move on to final passage of bills. There were a few that were passed, again, just, highlighting a few of those. So first, Bill 89, introduced by Councilman Fitch. And if passed, it lessens penalties for folks that have in their possession less than 35 milligrams of Mary Jane marijuana. So currently, if you have this small amount of marijuana on you, you will be slapped with up to $1,000 fine, or you may be locked up for up to 1 year. But the bill number 89 that Fitch has introduced, would again lessen that penalty. So his proposed legislation, there will be no imprisonment, and also the maximum fine will be $100. So it did pass. There was one lone vote by Councilman Tracus, because he expressed that marijuana is a gateway drug, and that he felt like passing this legislation would, quote, be sending a wrong message to the youth. But like I said, it did pass. And then the other bills that were passed really were, I'm highlighting, would accept grants or donations to support existing programs and efforts throughout St. Louis County government. So we had Bill 90, which supports the Mental Health Treatment Initiative program of the Family Court. We have Bill 91, which accepts a grant of up to $3,000 from the USDA to support the DPH's training and food safety. We have Bill number 92, which accepts a donation of up to $250,000 from the Police Foundation for a specialized training program for the police department. And then Bill 93, which accepts a grant to support the Department of Public Health's epidemiology and lab capacity cares projects. Then we move on to the resolutions, y'all. 13 resolutions were introduced last night. I want to remind people that resolutions are not laws. Let that sit with you for a second. So I'm not going to go into all of the resolutions. Again, I'm just going to highlight a few of them. So the first, I'm going to discuss, introduced by Chairwoman Dazed, addresses COVID-19 vaccination suppression. So, in the resolution, as well as what she's publicly expressed, is a real concern with regards to the disparities that have been seen in COVID-19 vaccination rollout among, particularly among her constituents, which are North County residents. So, so in this resolution, she's expressing the need for the same-day registration and vaccination, improved North County outreach efforts, all of that. The resolution passed. The next resolution, also introduced by Chairwoman Dazed, expresses no confidence for Chief Mary Barton. So literally, it's saying, we have no confidence that the current police chief is capable of being able to perform, basically her duties. So, again, the words used in this resolution, again, incapable. They felt, again, she's incapable of the transformational leadership that is needed for change within the St. Louis County Police Department. So there's a lot of discussion around this. No surprise there. And I'm going to just kind of give you folks how they were feeling in direct quotes, so you just kind of get where I'm going with this. So Councilman Tracus, one of his responses was, and I quote, "This is weaponization of the process, and I cannot support this resolution." A quote from Councilman Fitch. The best way to go is to offer her constructive criticism, because, he was just saying how she, this is a steep learning curve, and obviously she, there were issues with the police department long before her, so no, she isn't to blame. And she, didn't have the luxury of serving in, as number 2 in command. To kind of learn the ropes and all of that. So she just kind of jumped right into the fire, and it's like, look, we need to offer her constructive criticism because, this is a steep learning curve. So in response to that, Councilwoman Webb said, and I quote, "Can we in St. Louis County afford that learning curve?" Then Councilman Harder, one of his thoughts he expressed was, and I quote, "The anger should be directed at the police board." So the resolution passed with a 4-3 split. Dazed, Dunaway, Clancy, and Webb voted for the resolution, whereas Fitch, Tracus, and Harder voted against it. So then the next resolution, that was mentioned and was passed unanimously, opposes the requested funding of $1.26 million in tax dollars from the East-West Gateway Council of Government to restart the St. Louis Loop Trolley for an operational period of 2 years. Yeah, y'all. The trolley is still alive. But anyway, the county, they did pass this resolution unanimously, opposing this request of funding. And then the last one I want to uplift, Councilwoman Clancy introduced this resolution, which condemns bills filed in the U.S. directly attacking transgender people, showing support to those being discriminated against, and standing in solidarity with those fighting to stop the passage of said bills. So this passed, again, with that same 4-3 split. So you had Dazed, Dunaway, Clancy, and Webb voting for the resolution, whereas Fitch, Tracus, and Harder voted against it. Then, the meeting, like I said, y'all, the meeting was a little long, and I was a little dazed. And then it ended. There was some unfinished business, and there was this back and forth. We talking a good 15 minutes. Not back and forth, a discussion between council members Fitch, Harder, and Tracus, and County Executive Sam Page, because apparently Sam Page, he's produced this executive order. It came out a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago. And basically, it will make single-stall restrooms in St. Louis County buildings gender neutral. And there's this back and forth going on. And honestly, I was just dazed and out of it at that point. I kind of checked out. But that was for a good 10-15 minutes before the meeting ended. Yes, that was the St. Louis County Council meeting. The other meeting I did attend earlier today was the St. Louis County Police Board of Commissioners meeting. I did want to uplift a couple of things from that. Police Chief Mary Barton, she was present and she did provide a couple of updates regarding next action steps concerning the Teneo report. And so what was recommended in that report to make improvements within the police department. She said that the Teneo folks are going to be coming to St. Louis, visiting, hanging out, really helping them implement some of these recommendations. And she also mentioned that some of these recommendations are going to cost some coins. So really speaking with them to see, if they have any suggestions regarding how to really, get some additional funding sources, again, to make sure that we kind of head in the right direction with implementing some of these action items that were identified through the reports. So yeah, and I was really confused too, because, so they talked about that. Then the members went into a closed session for an hour, and I logged off because I had somewhere I had to be by that time. And so I was just a little confused because I'm like, so we not going to talk about the fact that the St. Louis County Council just said, we ain't got no confidence in you, girl. So I was really confused that there was no mention of that, but maybe that was discussed in the closed session, because I know entities go into closed session when they speak about things regarding personnel and lawsuits and things of that nature. So maybe that's what they talked about in the closed session, away from the public. I don't know, but I just thought it was weird that it wasn't mentioned in this meeting today. So that's all I have for you guys this week. So please stay safe out here in these streets. COVID is still real, and I'll see you next week. Peace.